Welcome everyone. It's amazing to see everyone here getting ready for a very special, happy, healthy, good New Year. 5,784 coming up. So, as Rosh Hashanah fast approaches, we have to see how we can make this year very meaningful. You know, just 6 months ago we had a Passover Seder, and we're all sitting around the table with, many of the community sitting together. I challenged everyone, who is truly free? Everyone raised their hand, they're free. So if you're truly free, let's see if you could put away your phones. Let's see if during the Seder, let's see if you could put away the phones and actually focus on the Seder. That was a challenge. Today we have another challenge. Take the apple, dip it in the honey, and keep it there. I'm referring to the iPhone. For a great amount of time, right? So we're going to get to that in just a bit. At this point, I'd like to introduce our mayor, or ask our mayor to come up and share with us some words of inspiration. You should know, I have to say, our mayor has lit more menorahs for Hanukkah than any other, and we thank him so much for always opening up City Hall to allow us to be able to celebrate together. And it's really special and amazing to be able to come together, especially that this year in the Jewish calendar is a year of gathering. And that's what we made a point to call every single synagogue in Yonkers. And the 4 synagogues in Yonkers, we asked them to send at least a representative to be here. And we're happy to have Jack Schweitzer from Lincoln Park, David Backer from Northeast, and anyone here from Sons of Israel, they were supposed to be here, and Chabad of Yonkers, Greystone Jewish Center. Again, if we stand united, it's the way that we're going to be able to continue going. So at this point, let's hear some beautiful remarks from our mayor, Mike Spano.
Rabbi, thank you, and Happy New Year all, and welcome to City Hall. So happy that everyone has been able to come here. I think I speak on behalf of myself. I know Council President Lakeisha Collins-Bellamy, the Majority Leader Tasha Diaz, Council members, Moranti, who's here, and the Majority Whip, Councilman John Rubo, Judge Shako, and of course Judge Karen Beltran, and Judge Mike Dorm, he's probably the one I know the longest. And of course, our great Senator Shelley Mayer. All of us here today, and Assemblyman Nader Sayich. And we're all here today to take part in the celebration. We want to welcome you here. We want to say thank you for coming here and sharing, hello Judge, sharing in this wonderful day, sharing in in your faith, in this culture. It's a wonderful thing that we can all have faith, right? Especially in today's world. Faith is a beautiful thing and something that we should celebrate together all the time. And so I'm glad that Rabbi, you were able to let me say a few words. I just wanted to say hello and welcome you to City Hall. Nice to see you.
We'll have the honor of hearing a few words from our State Senator, Shelley Mayer, for Rosh Hashanah.
Thank you, Rabbi. Always a pleasure. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I have to say, of all the communities I represent, only Yonkers has this beautiful festival and celebration. Credit to the mayor and the council and to the rabbi for bringing together all the synagogues. I'm a member of Northeast, just so you know, as well, to bring us all together. And I feel so fortunate to represent a community in its great diversity which chooses to celebrate this new year for the Jewish people. I just want to mention something. At 9/11, a rabbi that at a service I was at blew the shofar, and her point was that the last of the sounds that you make is, again, sort of the sound of a single sound unbroken, because at the end we are all united. We all are people on this earth. We are brothers and sisters, And in a time of great dissension, it's always a wonderful reminder at Rosh Hashanah that we're starting a new year. We start together in blessing and peace and love for each other. And so I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to be here, to celebrate, and then to start cooking when I get home. Thanks.
Speaking of blowing a shofar on 9/11, we have to give Lucia a thank you. One year Lucia comes over and says, I never knew that the shofar its symbol is remembrance, and 9/11 is all about remembering. So she asked if I could blow the shofar. Ever then, even if she doesn't ask, I do it anyway at this point. So, at this point, I'd like to ask our Lincoln Park president, Jack Schweitzer, to give us an inner meaning of the apple and honey. And this time we're actually talking about the real apple, not the iPhone.
Thank you, Rabbi. Despite what Rabbi Hurwitz says, I am not definitely an expert on Jewish halacha or law. So I'm going to do the best I can for what the explanation of apple and honey is. All right, so you're going to have to bear with me. Because I researched this on Google, because Google's the source, the subject matter for everything. So you're going to have to understand I'm not perfect on this, but the bottom line is, first of all, Rosh Hashanah is celebrated on the first day of the Jewish month of Tishrei, which is the 7th month in the Jewish calendar. And at this time, we're going to have the first day is actually on Shabbos, which is Saturday, which is unusual. Usually we have it on a weekday, but this is the way the Jewish calendar works out. The bottom line is that when you dip apple in honey, it's supposed to be a hope for a sweet new year. In the Jewish tradition, sweetness seems to be permeating every activity that we do. If you've ever been to any kind of a Jewish celebration, apple, honey cake, sweetness is important in our tradition. And one of the things about apple is something that is symbolic, and it reminds us of our enslavement in Egypt and the escape from bondage as a symbol of Jewish home and family, because apple also goes back in the tradition of back in the time of Adam and Eve. If everybody remembers about the apple tree and what happened in that at that time, apple was something that was symbolic, and it goes back to many centuries. That apple is something that was used when we were enslaved in Egypt, and that carried forth through the generations. And apple became very important as time went on, and it wasn't until the Ashkenaz Jewish families in Europe was something that was used persistently, because apple was something that was always used in the tradition back in the early part of the 11th, 12th century. So that carried forth. Now, honey is very interesting. Everybody knows that when the Jewish tribes went through the desert, they relied on manna. You remember, have heard that saying with manna? Well, manna was used as honey cake. So they tasted like honey, and that's why the honey was used as a way of eating with the apple tradition. So another thing that was very interesting is that besides apple and honey, on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, there's another fruit. There's a second fruit that is also used. And in this case, Rosh Hashanah is the fruit pomegranate is used. And what's interesting about pomegranate is that has 613 seeds. Now, what is the symbolism of 613? 613 is 613 mitzvahs, or good deeds, that all Jews are supposed to adhere to. So there's a lot of symbolism in what goes on in dipping apple in honey and other fruits that we try to use throughout the holiday. So hopefully I can give you some additional information. And I found out something today that I really wasn't aware of. Challah for Rosh Hashanah is normally for the Shabbos it's braided, but for Rosh Hashanah it has to be circular, and it's supposed to represent the cyclical nature of the entire year. So I'm not sure if I educated you a little bit on what goes on in Jewish tradition, but this was a little bit of an experiment, and the Rabbi put me on a spot to try to explain this. I hope I've elaborated you and not bored you with this little bit of information. But other than that, I'm thankful that everybody came here to join us. We have a very vibrant Jewish community here in Yonkers, and I got to thank the mayor and the other officials in Yonkers have been very supportive of our synagogue. He's come to some of our services, including Yom Kippur. He's come to some of our parties, and I think he's invited to another party. We're going to invite him again, and also some of the other officials. So I wish everybody a Rosh Hashanah Tovah. And you're always welcome to visit our shuls in Yonkers. Doors are open. Just give us a call first so we can make sure safety is secure. Thank you very much.
By the way, Jack says that if you only find 612 seeds in your pomegranate, you can return it on Amazon or Whole Foods. We're going to be sounding the shofar in just a moment, and with that we're going to conclude. It's like, by the end of the fast in Yom Kippur, after the sound of the shofar, we go and eat. But right after the shofar, again, we're going to enjoy, and we want to thank Simon Cooper for being a sponsor, together with the synagogues, Lincoln Park sponsoring, and so on. We have many judges here today. Rosh Hashanah is the day of judgment, and making a full circle, coming back to the Apple phone that I was speaking about before. By the way, the new one, the one that they unveiled yesterday, the 15, I think it has a little honey slot in there. So the idea of the physical apple, the phone apple in honey, would be, before you send out a post, before you answer somebody, sweeten it up a little bit. Don't answer right away when you're upset or you have to get them back. Let's make that a New Year's resolution, to be able to take our emotion, dip it into honey, and then answer once we're calm, once we turn the page, and we will be getting along so much better. We have so many judges. Let's start by judging ourselves. Let's see how we can judge ourselves before we jump to conclusion on somebody else. And with that, wishing everyone a happy, healthy, sweet New Year. We'll conclude with the sound of the shofar. Real quick, which horn does this come from? This is the ram horn, right? The small one. The big one is a kudo. Google it, you'll see. Why do we traditionally on shofar? Our tradition is to use the ram's horn. The reason why, because it's a remembrance when Abraham was bringing his son to be sacrificed, and God says no. Instead, take the ram, and that's why we sound the ram's horn. But they both give up nice sounds, and they're both kosher for Rosh Hashanah. Shana Tova. Everyone's welcome to join in the apple and honey, the sweet food, and all the other delicious things that has been prepared. Thank you for joining and coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.